men's health journey, especially after 50, is filled with new questions and concerns that previously didn't occupy our thoughts. The body starts sending different signals, and one of the areas that draws the most attention is, without a doubt, the prostate. This small, walnut-sized gland can become the center of major worries, from discomfort when urinating to the fear of more serious conditions. Amidst so much information about diet, exercise, and preventive exams, a question arises that many men ask themselves in silence, almost like a taboo. What happens to the prostate of men who masturbate every day? Discover the changes. This is a question that hangs in the air, mixing curiosity, old myths, and a genuine search for well-being. Could such an intimate and personal habit have a real impact, positive or negative, on prostate health? Science, which for a long time ignored these aspects of male life, is finally starting to give us some fascinating clues. If you've ever asked yourself this question, or simply want to better understand how to protect your health comprehensively, stay with us. This is not a video of opinions or guesswork, but a deep investigation into what the most recent studies reveal. And if you value clear, evidence-based health information, take a moment now to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications. That way, you won't miss any content that can make a difference in your quality of life. The truth is that prostate health is a complex topic influenced by genetics, lifestyle, and, as research suggests, even the frequency of sexual activity. Let's put the myths aside and dive directly into the scientific data to understand what really happens in this scenario. To answer such a specific question, we cannot rely on anecdotes or popular beliefs. We need to look at what rigorous scientific research has to tell us. And, fortunately, over the last 2 decades, several large-scale epidemiological studies have begun to investigate the correlation between ejaculation frequency and prostate health. One of the most cited and robust is a long-term study conducted by Harvard University, which followed tens of thousands of men for nearly 20 years. The results, published in prestigious medical journals like European Urology, were surprising to many. The researchers found a statistically significant association. Men who reported a higher ejaculatory frequency, in the range of 21 or more times per month, had a considerably lower risk of being diagnosed with prostate cancer compared to those who ejaculated less frequently, from 4 to 7 times per month. It is crucial to understand what this means. This study, and others like it, point to a correlation, a link, and not necessarily a direct cause and effect relationship. In other words, it doesn't prove that ejaculating more causes a reduced risk, but it shows that the two factors consistently go together in a large population. Scientists are always cautious, and it's important that we are too. They controlled for several variables, such as diet, family history, and other risk factors, and the association remained. This suggests that there is something real happening, a biological mechanism that may be behind this observation. But what could this mechanism be? How could such a simple act influence the biology of such a complex gland? The discovery of this correlation was just the first step, which opened the door to a series of fascinating hypotheses about the inner workings of the prostate. The existence of a correlation leads us to ask, why? What is the biological mechanism that could explain why a higher frequency of ejaculation is associated with a lower risk of prostate cancer? The most prominent and intuitive theory is known as the prostate stagnation hypothesis, or, more simply, the flushing or cleansing hypothesis. To understand this, think of the prostate as a small factory that constantly produces a fluid, the prostatic fluid, which makes up a significant part of semen. If this factory produces but does not ship its product, the material can get stored up. The hypothesis suggests that, over time, this stagnant fluid can accumulate potentially harmful substances. This could include carcinogens that have been metabolized by the body and excreted into this fluid, or even small crystals and calcifications that can cause low-grade chronic inflammation. Chronic inflammation is a known risk factor for the development of various types of cancer, as the inflammatory environment can lead to DNA damage in cells and promote uncontrolled cell growth. Therefore, regular ejaculation would function as a flushing mechanism, a periodic cleaning of the prostatic ducts. With each ejaculation, the prostate contracts and expels the accumulated fluid, taking these unwanted substances and old cells with it. It would be like regularly cleaning the pipes of a house to prevent blockages and corrosion. This constant cleansing could reduce the exposure of prostate tissue to carcinogens and decrease inflammation, creating a healthier cellular environment less conducive to tumor development. This mechanical explanation is elegant and makes a lot of biological sense, but is that all there is to it? The answer may be even more complex, also involving the delicate hormonal dances that govern male health. In addition to the mechanical cleansing hypothesis, scientists are exploring other biological pathways that may be influenced by regular sexual activity, especially concerning the complex world of hormones and cellular turnover. The prostate is a gland that is extremely sensitive to androgenic hormones, such as testosterone and its more potent derivative, dihydrotestosterone, DHT. These hormones are essential for the normal functioning of the prostate, but they are also implicated in the growth of both benign tissue, in benign prostatic hyperplasia, BPH, and malignant tissue, in prostate cancer. One theory suggests that frequent ejaculation could help modulate the hormonal environment within the prostate itself. The sexual act and orgasm involve peaks and valleys of various hormones and neurotransmitters, such as prolactin and oxytocin. Some researchers postulate that this regular hormonal activity could lead to better regulation of androgen receptors in prostate cells, or even influence the enzymes that convert testosterone into DHT. Keeping this hormonal balance more finely tuned could, in the long run, decrease the stimuli for excessive cell growth. Another fascinating mechanism involves cellular turnover, a process known as apoptosis, or programmed cell death. Our cells are not eternal. They have a life cycle, and when they age or get damaged, they are programmed to self-destruct in an orderly fashion to make way for new, healthy cells. Failures in this process can lead to the accumulation of old and damaged cells, which increases the risk of cancerous mutations. The regular activity of the prostate, through ejaculation, could stimulate a more efficient cellular turnover cycle, ensuring that defective cells are eliminated before they have a chance to proliferate. Combined, these mechanisms paint a more complete picture. It's not just about a physical cleansing, but potentially about a finer biochemical and cellular regulation. But if this applies to cancer, what about the condition that affects most men after 50, the enlarged prostate? While the link with prostate cancer has received more attention, the question that echoes in the minds of many men facing frequent nighttime trips to the bathroom is about benign prostatic hyperplasia, or BPH. BPH is the non-cancerous enlargement of the prostate, an extremely common condition with aging, which compresses the urethra and causes the well-known urinary symptoms: a weak stream, difficulty starting urination, a feeling of incomplete emptying, and urgency. Here, the research landscape is a bit murkier, and the evidence is less robust than that related to cancer. Some studies have suggested that regular sexual activity could have a protective effect against the development or progression of BPH as well, while others have found no clear association. The logic behind a possible benefit is similar to what we have already discussed. Chronic inflammation is also an important factor in the development of BPH. Therefore, the flushing mechanism, by reducing inflammation, could theoretically help to curb the benign growth of the gland. Similarly, better hormonal modulation, which we discussed earlier, could decrease the androgenic stimulus that leads to the growth of prostate tissue. However, BPH is a complex multifactorial process, strongly linked to age and genetic factors. It is possible that the impact of ejaculatory frequency, if any, is more modest compared to these other dominant factors. What we can say with certainty is that there is no evidence to suggest that masturbation or regular sexual activity worsens BPH or causes its symptoms. On the contrary, the possibility of a slight benefit, although not yet definitively proven, remains open. If you are finding this detailed analysis useful and enlightening, please leave a like on the video. It helps us a lot to reach more people seeking reliable health information. Faced with all these hypotheses and studies, a practical question inevitably arises. Is there a magic number? An ideal frequency that all men should aim for? The answer to this question requires an even more critical look at the science. The mention of the number 21 times per month from the Harvard study often creates anxiety or is interpreted as a medical prescription. It is essential to clarify, this number is not a target to be achieved, but rather an observation from a population study. Science doesn't work with magic numbers, but with trends and principles. What the research suggests is a trend. In general, more seems to be better than less, but there is no exact cutoff point that separates safe from risky. Each individual's sexual health is unique, influenced by their libido, overall health, relationship status, and psychological well-being. Forcing a frequency that is not natural or pleasurable is by no means a recommended health strategy. Furthermore, we need to be honest about the limitations of the evidence we have. The vast majority of studies on this topic are observational. This means researchers observe groups of people and collect data, but do not intervene directly. This type of study is great for identifying correlations, but it cannot prove causality. For example, it's possible that men with better overall health and a higher libido ejaculate more frequently and, at the same time, have a lower risk of cancer for other reasons related to their healthy lifestyle and not directly because of ejaculation itself. Another limitation is that these studies rely on the self-reporting of participants, who may not remember or report their frequencies with complete accuracy. Therefore, the most important message here is one of perspective. Ejaculatory frequency is just one small piece of a gigantic puzzle that is prostate health. Factors such as diet, regular physical exercise, maintaining a healthy weight, not smoking, and undergoing routine checkups carry a much greater weight of evidence and have a demonstrably more profound impact. Obsessively focusing on a single habit while ignoring the fundamental pillars of health would be a mistake. So, how can we integrate this information in a balanced and safe way into our wellness plan? Integrating this information in a practical and safe manner means, first and foremost, abandoning the idea of an obligation and adopting a holistic view of health. The main benefit of understanding this research is perhaps psychological. It helps to demystify a normal and healthy aspect of male life, alleviating any guilt or anxiety that may exist. Knowing that an active and regular sex life, whether with a partner or alone, can bring potential benefits to the prostate is positive information. However, practical implementation should focus on the pillars of health that are proven to be effective and are under our direct control. The real protection for your prostate comes from a set of daily habits. Let's start with diet. Include foods rich in lycopene, a powerful antioxidant found in abundance in cooked tomatoes and their derivatives, like sauce and juice. Selenium, present in Brazil nuts, and zinc, found in pumpkin seeds, are also essential minerals for prostate health. Foods rich in omega-3s, such as cold water fish, and regular consumption of cruciferous vegetables, like broccoli and cauliflower, have also shown protective effects. Secondly, physical exercise. Regular physical activity, especially aerobic exercise like walking, running, or swimming, improves blood circulation throughout the body, including the pelvic region, fights inflammation, and helps regulate hormone levels. Maintaining a healthy body weight is another crucial factor, as obesity is associated with a higher risk of more aggressive forms of prostate cancer. Adequate hydration is also fundamental, not just for general health, but for diluting urine and keeping the entire urinary system functioning well. The final message is that ejaculatory frequency should be seen as a possible bonus, a component of a healthy lifestyle, and not as the central pillar. And as powerful as all these habits are, none of them replaces the most important action of all. The most crucial and irreplaceable action that every man, especially after the age of 50, must take for his prostate health is regular medical follow-up with a urologist. This is the non-negotiable point. The information we've shared here is valuable for knowledge and for adopting a healthier lifestyle, but it never replaces the evaluation and guidance of a qualified professional. It is the urologist who can assess your individual case, considering your family history, your symptoms, and your general health status. They are the one who will request and correctly interpret tests like the PSA, prostate-specific antigen, in the blood and, when necessary, perform the digital rectal exam. These two exams, together, offer the most complete view for the early detection of changes in the prostate. Remember, both BPH and early-stage prostate cancer may not present any symptoms. The only way to detect them early, when the chances of successful treatment are highest, is through proactive evaluation. Therefore, the main summary of our conversation is this. Science suggests an interesting and plausible link between a higher frequency of ejaculation and a lower risk of prostate cancer, possibly due to mechanisms of cleansing and hormonal regulation. However, this is only a small part of the story. True protection comes from a comprehensive approach, an anti-inflammatory diet, regular exercise, weight control, and, above all, a partnership with your doctor. View this information as power to make better decisions, but the wisest decision of all is to trust in medical guidance. Share this video with the important men in your life, your father, brothers, friends. Quality information can save lives. And tell us in the comments, what other topic about men's health would you like to see demystified on our channel? Take good care of yourself. Your health is in your hands. Until next time.